Hey guys, it's your girl Alex, and today I'm back with another video, and I'm going to share with you guys how I got scholarships, where I went to get scholarships, and how you can get some scholarships too, guys. Okay, I promise you there's money out here, and I know a lot of you may be thinking like, me? Yes girl, you. If you guys are interested in finding out how to get scholarships, whether it's through the school or outside scholarships, stay tuned. So what is a scholarship? A scholarship is basically money that is given to you that you do not have to pay back. So unlike financial aid or like government assistance, where you're able to take out loans through your FAFSA and things of that sort, that you have to pay back, whether it's subsidized or unsubsidized. But scholarships and grants are basically when you receive money and you do not have to pay that back. That is money as if it's a gift to you. Okay, so that's what I'm trying to tell you guys about. Yes, I did receive scholarships in college, however I still had to receive some financial aid, and that is okay. If you're in the same boat as me, it happens. But if you can reduce the amount of loans that you have to pay back, guys, that is so ideal. So I'm going to tell you the tips and tricks, where I went, and how I did it. So I'm going to talk about the places where you can go and look for scholarships. So for me, I kind of started out because I saw that my school was offering scholarships. They would send emails to everyone throughout the school. And guys, you guys need to check your emails, because I know sometimes you guys see these things and they're like, I'll do it later, or oh, I'm not gonna get that. No guys, you guys have to apply. Okay, so when I saw these in my email, I was then intrigued. I started asking questions and I applied. So that's one way that you can receive scholarships. Another thing, guys, I was watching Shark Tank, and if you know me, then you know I am obsessed. I love me some Shark Tank, okay? And one of the things that I saw on Shark Tank was Scholly. Scholly is an app, or you can go on their website and they show you all the places to get a scholarship. So if you are in certain activities, if you have a certain GPA, if you are a certain race, etc., they pretty much just ask you a questionnaire of things that apply to you, and then they give you a list of scholarships that you can apply for, or that are geared toward you. And I found that very helpful, and of course I was obsessed with some Shark Tank at the time. It was like $2.99 a month, and I'm not sure if it even costs anything anymore because I still have an account. But it's very, very helpful. It's super easy. It takes you right to the website and then you apply. And yes, I did receive only one scholarship through them, but guys, one is better than none, and this money adds up. Another place where you can go and receive scholarships is like Scholarship Owl and scholarships.com. I'm not sure how well those are because I personally did not receive any scholarships through them, but those are other options. There is one other option, and for me, if you guys know, I went to Winston-Salem State University, which is an HBCU. So I was able to apply to scholarships through Thurgood Marshall Scholarship Foundation. Guys, this is for people that are African American, or if you are African American and attending an HBCU. They have so many scholarship options, guys. Just go up there now. The key is you need to be looking like before the spring semester and well before this fall semester. So you need to be constantly looking for these scholarships. So I don't even know how I found out about the Thurgood Marshall Scholarship, but it was up there. I went to a HBCU, and there's so many options you have. You have to be very specific in reading if you qualify, because a lot of them are for high schoolers going into college, but there's also a lot of opportunities for people that are in college already. And some of them are for specific majors, some of them are for specific schools, some of them are for all the HBCUs. So it's important that you read if you're qualified. Another thing is that there are so many options, guys, that they have regulations, right? So you're only allowed to receive one scholarship per year through them. And I think that this is really important to think about, because some scholarships range from $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 to full tuition, right? And so the strategy here is, are you supposed to apply to those where it's only $1,000 that they're offering, or should you only apply to the big scholarships? As for me, I applied for the spring semester, and so I just applied to everything at this point. I didn't know any better, and I really didn't read the fine print. So I received about $2,000 total. I think it was about $1,000 each semester that I received, which was very helpful, guys. Every little bit counts, and it really adds up. Like, I can't stress this enough. That's one way to receive scholarships, through that foundation. I highly recommend. So guys, make sure you look into that option if you're African American or if you went to a HBCU. So what do you need to apply to a scholarship? Well, every scholarship is different. I've seen scholarships where all you have to do is enter your name for a drawing, which I highly do not recommend. If you think about it, there's a lot of people that don't want to put in the work, that don't want to write the essays, and they're applying to those scholarships. But the people that actually have to write an essay, put effort into it, less people are applying to those scholarships. So if you think about it, don't even waste your time with those. You're probably not going to win. Or you can just put forth the effort and then get you a scholarship. So let me talk about the things that you will more than likely need for applying for these scholarships. Number one, you're going to need an award-winning essay. Literally an award-winning essay, because you're winning an award, you're winning a scholarship, right? So you need to make sure that someone proofreads that essay. You need to make sure that essay is literally answering the prompt, and you need to make sure that your essay is different. It needs to literally be unique, and your story has to really be true and authentic. So don't just make up some sob story. Don't just take your friend's story. Literally come up with a story that talks about your life, talks about your obstacles and how you overcame those obstacles, but make sure it's unique, okay? You don't want to write about what everyone else is writing about. You want to write about something that's just very different and that catches their attention. One of the things that I would really recommend with your award-winning essay is to make sure that your first paragraph hits. Like, you need to make sure that your first paragraph is really eye-catching and that it is just super different. And I'm going to read you guys a part of an essay that I've written. And this is an award-winning essay, because when I say all the essays that I've applied to, this is the one. And that's another thing, guys. You want to keep reusing the same essay. Maybe you might tweak it here and there depending upon what the scholarship is asking for, but when you find that award-winning essay, you use that same essay and you apply to multiple ones. So it sounds like, oh, it's a lot of work, you know, blah blah, but no, guys, once you get that one essay, all you're doing is submitting your documents for all these other essays, and it's easy money. And I just wish that people would understand that. It can be really discouraging if you don't win a scholarship, but you guys have to understand that there's so many of them. So if you apply to 20, 30, you know, sometimes not a lot of people are applying, and that puts you at a higher rate to possibly get the scholarship. So make sure that you guys have an award-winning essay. Make sure that someone is reviewing it with you, and make sure that you have an eye catcher, like you're seeing it, ear catcher. Make sure you guys have something that's really cool that grasps their attention. The next thing that you're probably going to need for a scholarship application is a letter of recommendation. That is another way to weed people out, because how many of y'all are actually going to go to your teachers or your coach or anybody that you've worked with and ask for a letter of recommendation? I'll wait. Probably not many, and that is why this is a weeding out process. So what I would do if I were you is go to a teacher that you're very close to, maybe a teacher that you performed well in their class, or maybe a teacher that has impacted you in whatever shape, way, or form, and ask them to write an essay for you. You could always go to your pastor. You could always go to a former employer. Obviously, if you're a teenager and you're in high school, I obviously wouldn't ask a coworker. But if you're like me, you're already a nurse and you want to go back to school or something and you want to apply for a scholarship, it's okay to ask your coworker, your supervisor, just what have you. Just make sure that you have a strong letter of recommendation. I went to one of my teachers. Actually, I went to two teachers. One is for a teacher that I was very close to, and I had a few classes with her, and another professor, I barely knew him, because understand, guys, I went to school during Zoom times, but I had a lot of one-on-one sessions with him because his class was very difficult, and I struggled, and I just really wanted to thrive in his course. So we got to know each other on a one-on-one level and through small groups, because I was always asking for help. And I asked the perfect person, because this was for nursing research, which is obviously associated with writing. And he is an amazing writer. He wrote me the best letter of recommendation, and it really, I think it helped me get some scholarships. Not all scholarships require a letter of recommendation, but I would just have them on board just in case. It's best to have at least two. There's very seldom that I see that these scholarships want 3 people to write letter of recommendations, I would recommend that 2 is enough because that's mostly what I saw. The next thing that they're probably going to ask you to provide is a transcript. Does your GPA matter? Yes. So do you have to be valedictorian? Do you have to be the smartest person in your class? Do you have to get a 4.0? No. Usually the minimum requirement is a 3.0 or higher, although there are some scholarships that will ask for just a 2.0 or a 2.5. It just depends on the scholarship. A lot of these scholarships are merit-based, so they do want to see your transcripts. So usually an unofficial transcript is adequate. Very seldom will they ask for an official one, but I've had a scholarship ask me for an official transcript. But for the most part, if you just have your most recent transcript, you should be good to go. So just keep that in mind. If you know that you are a student that has a 3.0 or higher, then you should be good to go. But if you're like at a 2.5 range, you're going to be really restricted to which scholarships that you can apply to, and that's not to discourage you. Still apply. Still find those scholarships that are not heavy on GPA, because they're still out there as well. So just do your research, because no matter where you are, apply. The next question. So with that being said, since your GPA is low, since you can't really think of anything super spectacular to write about, you were an average student, are you good enough? Yes. You are more than good enough. You are more than applicable. Go ahead and apply. The worst that they could say to you is no. And you're not at a worse position than you already are, because right now you don't have a scholarship. It can only get better. So just make sure that you just give it a try. My dad used to tell me you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. Super cheesy, but it has meaning. So think about it. If you don't apply, you'll never know. So guys, make sure that you just put yourself out there and apply, because the worst that could happen is that you don't get one, but at least you'll know the outcome. The last thing that I wanted to talk about was the different types of scholarships. And what I mean by this is that sometimes they might ask for a video or just like a personal statement and see you talking to the camera. They may ask you to do like an essay, which is the most common form, which is how I received my scholarships. Or they might ask you to do some sort of project and to submit a photo, or submit a photo of your artwork. Or they may just ask you to create an outline of how you would start a business. It just really depends on which scholarships that you're applying to. But just understand that scholarships come in all shapes and forms. So if you feel like you're not really a strong writer, but you're very creative, there's a lot of opportunities for you to be able to submit a video, or submit other forms of an application. But for me, I found an award-winning essay, and I find that to be the easiest, because if you think about it, if you submit a video, the video could be the prompt could be, okay, tell me about how you feel about this company of cars and blah blah blah. Or they may ask you, okay, why do you think it's so important to not drink and drive? Those are very specific scholarships, and what I mean by that is you could spend a lot of time dedicating to that one particular scholarship. But if you have a general essay, if they say, oh, tell me about yourself, tell me your future endeavors, if you have an award-winning essay, you literally just start copying and pasting, and it saves a lot of time, and then you're able to get more money. So that's not to discourage you to not apply to those other scholarships that have different types of prompts. I'm just saying, be aware of the time that may be consumed, because I would say I spent an hour and a half on my essay, because I did it last minute. And I ended up getting that essay, and then from there on I just apply to every other essay. It's just a matter of having all of my documents in one place and submitting it. So it was just a lot easier. I found it with the essay. I have applied to other scholarships where I have to submit a video, and I just felt like I just spent a lot of time on something that I didn't see the benefits of it. But you do you, boo. And the last thing I want to discuss are tax forms. So when you receive scholarships, they are not considered taxable income. So you want to make sure that you're using those scholarships wisely. Make sure that you're using them toward tuition, books and fees and things of that sort. And your school is going to send you a form in the mail, and basically it's just a form stating this is how much I got, etc. And that it's not taxable income. So make sure that if you do receive any type of scholarship, that you keep that in a safe place, because when taxes are due, you know, you're gonna have to submit that information. And if you guys made it this far, y'all are the best. I don't know if it's because you guys are being nosy and you want to know how much I got in scholarships, but I'm here for it because you're still here. So in total, I got about $13,000 in scholarships. Everybody's circumstance is different, but just know that no matter what amount of scholarship you get, every little bit counts. I know in my previous vlog I mentioned that I'm thinking about going back to school. I don't know when, but if I decide to do like psychiatric nurse practitioner or CRNA, I would need the GRE. At this given moment, I am 8 months pregnant. I have a baby in the oven, okay, and right now it's just not the best time for me to take the GRE. I found out that there was a scholarship for Manhattan Prep, and I went ahead and I applied. And my goal originally was to go ahead and take the GRE ASAP before my daughter gets here so that I wouldn't have to worry about it later. But something just didn't feel right with me, feeling like I was rushing, because that is a very important test. So I just told myself there's a lot of mothers that do it, have children, and they still succeed academically. So I thought, you know what, I might as well go ahead and apply for the scholarship because I am in need at the moment due to my circumstance, and you know, paying $1,500 at the moment is very steep and is very hard on me. So I went ahead and applied. I am not a student anymore. I am a registered nurse, but they had an opportunity for people that felt like they were in need to apply for the scholarship. And guys, I am so excited to say I applied and I received the scholarship. And so that is why I'm doing this video, because I just felt like I want to share the good news and share how you guys can also get these type of opportunities. And I did say that I was going to share my essays just so that you guys get an idea. So I'm specifically going to share the Manhattan Prep essay that I did. I don't feel like reading my entire essay for the ones that I received in college. It's a little lengthy. Alright, so I have my laptop here, so if I'm looking down, that's why I'm reading from there. Alright, so I'm going to review the last two. The question is, one goal of the Manhattan Prep Scholarship is to increase and amplify diverse perspectives in academia and professional sector. Please explain how your unique background, experience, and aspirations will contribute to a more equitable and inclusive environment in school and in your workplace. What? So when I read that, that really kind of confused me, but what I took from that was talk about my diversity experience, and then explain how my background will contribute to the environment in my school and workplace. That's how I perceived it, and that's how I answered it. But don't let those big large words like confuse you and deter you. Break it down, and then also you can ask someone else, hey, what do you think they're asking me? And if you're really not sure, make sure that you go ahead and you contact the scholarship committee, because you want to make sure that you are answering the question correctly. So this was my response. Once I sparked a keen interest in the medical field, I decided to shadow a primary care provider in a disadvantaged community to get a better sense of the profession. I quickly noticed that people's lack of insurance was the one prevalent deterrent to getting medical care. The majority of people would postpone seeing a healthcare provider until their condition became intolerable. Mental health, however, has such a negative reputation that people sometimes won't seek help if it's needed, despite the fact that some conditions and symptoms may be treatable or reversible. The healthcare professional I observed offered a way around this obstacle by tailoring his approach to those without insurance. By offering inexpensive healthcare, I hope to reduce the gap with marginalized groups who do not have access to it. In addition, although mental health is not a physical issue, I hope to educate people about its significance. I ultimately hope that my special experience will soon have an impact on diverse and underserved groups. And so there I ended it with like, that's your answer to your question type of statement. But my experience was very interesting, and I tried to share that. So I want to tell you a little bit about this story so you guys understand what I'm trying to say. The provider that I shadowed, he did not accept insurance. He was literally on like it was kind of like a subscription plan. I don't want to really use the word subscription, but it was kind of like you pay it month by month, and he is your primary care provider. So for like a whole family, he would offer, you know, healthcare for $150. Now that does not include if you went to the emergency room. It would not include all medications, but he did have access to medications where, you know, people could get it at a very, very discounted price. And at the end of the day, instead of people not getting the care that they need, they were able to come see him. Now granted, if you did need to go see a specialist, or if you did need to go again to the ER or get advanced care or surgery, then you do not have insurance. But he at least would be a provider that you could see in case you were sick, in case you needed medical attention. And so I just wrote about that, and I was able to use that as an experience. That's another thing I want to address. A lot of these scholarships are need-based. So if you're asking me, hey, should I still apply to this scholarship? I don't get any financial aid. My parents make too much. Absolutely, you should. Because there's always someone who is in need. You may not be in need as much as the person that is that was raised with a single mother and all these things, but you still have a need, because if you can't pay for college out of pocket, and if it is a strain on your family, you need to share that, and you need to share how the scholarship will impact you. So I think that that's very important, because although I felt like a little discouraged because I am in my career and I am a nurse, so I don't want them to look at me like, why can't she pay out of pocket? But at the end of the day, $1,500 is very much so a strain. I'm 7 months pregnant, and with the field that I'm in, at this current time, I do not get maternity leave, and that is a huge strain on me. And so this scholarship truly does help, because I was going to postpone the GRE for a very, very long time. This scholarship allows me to use it within 1 year, so it definitely not only gives me an incentive to go ahead and start, you know, with my future endeavors, but also it just helps so much because that financial burden is lightened and lifted, and I don't have to worry about, okay, when am I going to do the GRE? Like, I just know I'm able to take it when I can sit down and truly study, rather than thinking, okay, I can't take it because I don't have the money. I know that was a lot of information, but guys, if you are interested in going to school and you do not want a lot of debt, or you need to take some financial burden off of you and your family, apply. There are scholarships out there, okay? Find your award-winning essay and go ahead and get that money. If you guys made it to the end, thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope that you guys found this video helpful in some way, shape, or form. Make sure you like and subscribe, and until next time. Ooh, la, la, la. Ooh, la, la.